Hey everyone, welcome back to the JavaScript course. So in this video, we'll be looking into the eval function inside of JavaScript. And if you find this interesting, let's get started right away. So in this video, we'll be exploring about the eval function inside of JavaScript. Okay. So inside my VS Code, I've opened up my index.html file and my style.css file as well as my script.js file. Okay. So there is some basic boilerplate code that is present inside my index file, as you can see. And inside my style.css file, there is some basic styling given over here. And inside my script file, there is just a basic console.log message. Okay. So now let's start exploring about the eval function in JavaScript. Okay. So the main definition of the eval function is basically eval function is used to execute any kind of expression that is present. Okay, and the parameter it's going to take inside of eval function is of a string. Okay, so whatever expression we give inside of the eval function, it is going to get executed and give us the result. Okay, so we're going to understand. So we'll be making use of some basic example equations, and then we'll be making use of the eval function, and then we'll be checking out the corresponding outputs. Okay, so we're gonna say var a equals to 50, var b equals to, let's say, 10, and var c equals to 20. Okay, we're gonna say const sum total, okay, equals to, we're gonna make use of the eval function, and we're gonna say a plus b plus c, like this. Okay, and next one is we're gonna say const subtract total equals to eval of, we'll be doing a minus b minus c. Okay, so the final one we have is const multiply equals to eval of, so this is going to be a star b star c, like this. Okay, so you're going to pretty much console.log the required results. Okay, we're going to say over here the sum is going to be sum total, like this. Okay, and similarly we're going to make use of the other two, that is console.log subtracted value. Okay, it's going to be subtract total, like this, and the final one we have is basically the multiplied value. Okay, so this is going to be multiply, like this, and let's check out our console. Okay, so let's open up a console. So we should see all the results for the equations. Okay, so sum is 80, subtracted value is 20, and multiplied value is 10,000. Okay, so that's the basic usage of the eval function inside of JavaScript. Okay, so I think that's it about the eval function. So the next thing we'll be looking into is the ternary operator. Okay, so we're gonna say ternary operator in JavaScript. Okay, so ternary operator in the sense we'll be having a condition. Okay, so basically if that condition becomes true, then we're going to execute whatever comes after the first condition, else we have another block of code. So in case if the condition becomes false, we'll be executing that block of code. Okay, so the first thing we'll be looking into is basically the syntax of it. Okay, syntax of the ternary operator condition. Okay, so the first thing is of course the condition itself. So this is going to be a condition check. Okay, after that we apply a question mark. So in case the condition becomes true, then we're going to execute the first block of code. Okay, so first block of code. Okay, else if this becomes false, okay, then that case we're gonna write a colon, and this is gonna be execute the second block of code. Okay, so that's a basic understanding of the ternary operator condition. Okay, so let's check again. So firstly we're going to apply a condition. So so let's say this becomes true, then we execute this piece of code. Okay, so in case this becomes false, we execute the second piece of code. Okay, so I think a better way to understand this is we're going to say if the user is authenticated, which is going to write some message which is going to be user dot authenticated. If this is the true, then we're just gonna say show the main home screen like this. Okay, so basically we'll be rendering our home screen something like this if we have inside our application. Else, if that's not the case, okay, so if the user is not authenticated, it should go into the else condition. Okay, basically it should show the login screen. Okay, so that's pretty much how this works with the help of the question mark and the colon. So that needs to be applied. Okay, so let's save the file once, and we'll be making use of let's say a operator. So we're going to say const sum equals to, let's say or we're just going to say const value equals to true. Okay, so we're going to say if value, then we're just going to say console.log value. Okay, or we're just going to say this is the first block of code. Okay, so let's remove that out. Over here we're going to say this is the first block of code. Else if okay, so else if this becomes false, in case afterwards we'll make it false, we just want to say console.log this is the, what do you say, second block of code like this. Okay, so pretty much this is the basic way and basic simple understanding of how we can implement the ternary operator, right? So instead of console.log, we can render something, basically a div or a new component inside our page, or we can even do anything or we can show any kinds of information as well. Okay, so let's check out a console. So firstly, this is true, so because we are assigning a true value to the value variable, so this becomes true. So as I told, if this becomes true, this piece of code is going to get executed. That's the first piece of code. So let's come back to our console over here, and let's open up our console. So inspect console. Yeah, so this is the first block of code. So as I told, this is working correctly as we went through over here. Okay, so if the condition is true, it's going to execute this one, execute the first block of code. Okay, so else it's going to execute this value. Okay, so let's make this false for now, that is this value. So let's save the file. Let's come back to our web page over here. Yeah, so this is going to show us this is the second block of code because the first condition has been failed over here. Okay, so this has failed, so that's the reason it is going to go over to this one. Okay, so I think that's it about the ternary operator condition in JavaScript. Okay, so the main thing to remember over here is the syntax part. Okay, if this becomes right, then everything is going to work according to the condition check that we have over here. Okay, so basically we need to remember basically this thing, that is the question mark that is going to come after the condition. Then after the question mark, we render our first block of code. Okay, so to be executed, and after that in case it becomes false, we apply a colon. Okay, then after that we render the second block of code that is present over here in case the condition becomes false. Okay, so that's the main thing to remember about the ternary operator. So that is basically the syntax, and we also explored about the eval function over here. Okay, so eval function is basically, as I told, is used to execute a kind of expression that we have, and the parameter the eval function is going to take is in the form of a string. Okay, and we basically took examples of these three values and just console.log the required results. Okay, as you can see over here. Okay, so I think that's it about this video. Okay, we just explored about these two things, that is the eval function as well as the ternary operator in JavaScript. Okay, so let's see you in the next video, and then thank you for watching.